Good morning, everybody. Chris here from Student Education. It is the 9th of September, Thursday. It is now 9:25 in the morning, British Standard Time. Just looking at the markets, and in front of me I have the Student Education matrix that we look at first thing each morning or each time we actually open our charts, just to give us a broad aspect of what's moving out there with trend direction. Okay, it's a very, very cool template that we've created. Gives us an ability to look at both the long, intermediate, and short-term trend direction, and on that basis, we then look to see if we can get a clearer shot of each currency cross, and the ones with the cleanest shots across the board, time frames that is. Then we look to focus our attention on that. So there are a number over here that actually have started to give us a rather interesting play out. So if you look at essentially the commodity crosses, which are on the right hand side, starting with the Australia against the euro, the pound, the chief yen, and then against commodities themselves. Then we have New Zealand crosses, and then we have CAD crosses, and you can see that the majority of the play at the moment now is focused around commodities in general. But this morning I did a number of scans, and one that came up was CAD crosses. So here again I have this tool that I use on Metastock on the Reuters platform, which gives me a broader aspect as to the overall direction, and you can see CAD across both being a risk appetite asset. You can see at the moment now is looking promising. So if I go back to my charts again and we pay attention to the right hand side of here, you'll notice that CAD against crosses does indeed hold a lot of sentiment, but you'll also see New Zealand doing pretty much. Australia not as clean, but nonetheless you can see that commodities have certainly been the focal point. So on that basis, we could then look to do our analysis on that front. Okay, remember the whole sole principle of us as trading, or us as a trader, is to do more of the detective work. We need to look and see where the exposure is on a day-to-day, week-to-week, month-to-month, quarter-to-quarter basis in terms of overall global sentiment. Are we risk on? Okay, looking for risk appetite, optimism, demand is clearly there, supply chain demand is clearly moving, etc. And then you'll start to look at those currencies that depict risk appetite. Okay, so Australia, New Zealand, etc. If there is a sign of risk aversity or safety or concern or pessimism, then you start looking at those currency crosses that dictate safety. Okay, we're either risk on or risk off. We either or, and it's a balancing act between those two. Okay, unfortunately, as we look at 2020 and 2021, we do have a number of issues in terms of one primal issue being COVID, and the concerns that COVID has created over 2020, and certainly concerns that are likely to still remain around in 2021-22. It's the way how we combat that virus is going to be how we, certainly in terms of management, is how we're going to actually get on a day-to-day, week-to-week, month-to-month, and quarter-to-quarter level. Okay, so there again, that would also have a reflection on global sentiment as a whole, would obviously have a reflection on what oil does. Okay, so there again, currency crosses which are dictated by oil, whether it be on a more exporting side of things, which it makes the most of its GDP basis, or those countries which are very dependent on oil imports because they rely heavily on manufacturing production. So you look at those countries which are very heavily export based on machining and production, etc., and don't have a lot of oil internally, will then obviously have to then pay higher prices if oil is indeed getting stronger, etc., etc. That could also have a play out in the economy. So currencies, just by looking at them as an entity, yes, is good, but if you understand the underlying currency economy that the asset or the currency is backing, then you'll have a far better idea of what you should be doing. So part of the whole Forex, the Forex timeline, but it's something that you will get good at, and if you are well aware of it, then obviously this is going to help you do that. So yeah, I'll leave you with that. Something to think about. Is just give you an idea of what it is that we do at Student Education. We actually educate individuals how to look for these opportunities out there on the global market, the Forex market that is, and on that basis we need to ensure that we have the right tools, and the matrix is one of those tools that we utilize on a day-to-day basis. So gives you an idea, and remember, time is money. So if you have something out there that gives you a positive or negative reflection of what the market's doing ASAP in the real time, then it allows us then to obviously gauge where we should be focusing our attention on a day-to-day basis, or an hour, or depending on your time set that you're going to be trading, and that will then obviously see a return for time invested ASAP. Okay, we don't want to be sitting looking at the charts in the morning going, what does I need to be doing? Where do I need to be focusing my attention? You should be able to open up the charts, look at a given set of tools or parameters, and go, yes, this is where I need to focus my attention for the foreseeable future, whether it be an intraday bias or a shorter term or long term basis. But that's essentially what we need to do. And this particular tool I'm showing you right over here on the chart is something that will give you that. So if you want more information about this particular template, okay, on how to get all of it, how to get educated on it, then drop us an email at info@sereneducation.com, info@sereneducation.com for further information. Hope you have a fantastic trading day, and I'll catch you later. Take care.